Go inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider TV with Rodney Orr and Gary Harris.
SEC championship in Birmingham, and then they learned on Monday that they'll be the nation's 4th overall seed and the #1 seed at the Seattle Regional. We'll talk more gymnastics and hear from Sarah Patterson in just a little bit. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the spring break edition of Tider Insider TV. Alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com, I'm Gary Harris. Our program presented every week by Buffalo Rock. Once again tonight, ice cold Pepsi Next. Real cola taste, 60% less sugar. That's good. Check out Pepsi Next the next time you're at your local grocery. Rodney, as I said, it may be spring break for the students on campus, but we're still rolling along here on TITV. And what else? Talking football. Alabama won't practice again until this coming Monday, but the Tide was able to get in several practices last week, including its first full pads practice. Coach Saban says that many of the young guys are beginning to buy in, but there's still some immaturity on the squad, and that's something that you have to deal with.
You know, immature people, immature players, sort of think that life's going to give in to their demands, and mature people know that I have to give in to life's demands. And if you really want to advance in this world, you got to kind of do what you need to do to be successful, and most of the time that gets defined by somebody else. Like your boss, he defines the expectation for you. So if you want to advance, you need to do a good job. Well, we need everybody to buy in and do a good job for what we need them to do so we can be successful as a team. And the attitude toward that has been very good, and I'm pleased, but obviously we got a long way to go.
Coach Saban also said that on average you lose 25% of your roster every year in college football. That means that new leaders have to emerge each and every season. Rodney, let's talk spring football. The offense has been a hot topic after just 4 practices before spring break, but still an opportunity for us to see a little bit of Lane Kiffin, and more importantly, the players seem to be getting a better handle on his offense. They seem to really like what they've seen from the new coach. Here's Ryan Kelly talking about Lane Kiffin.
He's a great offensive mastermind. I haven't even been around him long, and you can kind of just tell that, things just starting to start flowing from his head. And, I'm my 3rd offensive coordinator now, so, some things have obviously changed, but that's football. And, I like where we're headed. Obviously, some things are different, and sometimes change is a good thing. So,
Rod, a lot of people around the country talking about the spread and going to a more athletic attack, spreading people out, trying to play in space, eluding people. I get the impression this spring with Lane Kiffin in here, Alabama's going really back to the basics and talking even more about physical football, laying downhill, mauling people, really abusing people on the line of scrimmage.
Well, I think when you look at the running backs that they have, Gary, and some of the young offensive linemen certainly, I think that when we talk about how Lane Kiffin likes to use a fullback too, have that 2-back set, then you look outside though with the playmakers, and I know that part of the offense is certainly going to incorporate the ability of those guys outside. You have DeAndre White, Amari Cooper, some of the greatest, most talented athletes in the country in terms of the wide receiver position. You get them guys the ball, those guys the ball in open space, they can make big things happen. And I think, with what Alabama's going to do is get those guys the ball quickly and let them do things with their ability.
Well, that's the great thing, as you're alluding to, about being able to physically impose your will, run the football. Then defenders have to, put more people close to the line of scrimmage to stop the run, respect the run. Then some of those great speed guys on the outside, like you're talking about, get man-to-man coverage, and you get the ball in Amari Cooper's hands, Christian Jones' hands against one guy. There's a good chance, Rod, they'll take it to the house.
Yeah, a lot of the young, good receivers, Gary, we haven't even mentioned a lot of them. Chris Black, and we know what the tight end can do, the young tight end O.J. Howard. So, again, a lot of weapons there, Gary, a lot of things at Lane Kiffin's disposal, and the way he's been able to develop players, the quarterbacks that he's developed in the past, as well as, some of the other skilled players, I think in his scheme, certainly is going to give Alabama a very, exciting attack.
Well, they come back to work next Monday. It's really going to be interesting to watch Lane Kiffin continue to put his handprint on this Alabama offense. Well, it's no secret there's a lot of money being made off Alabama athletics, and 2013 was no different. The university recorded a $21 million surplus, which ranks Alabama near the top in the nation among athletic departments. This year is the second largest surplus since records have been made available. Here's how the numbers break down. These figures are ticket sales from individual sports. No surprise, of course, that Alabama football leads the way, but other sports doing really well, too. Gymnastics certainly is up there as well. And speaking of gymnastics, in terms of championships, Rod, that program may be the second most successful program at the university behind football. But Sarah Patterson's crew does have the most recent SEC championship. After winning the title on Saturday night in Birmingham, the young ladies gathered on Monday to find out where they'll be heading for regionals, and it's off to Seattle again. They'll be the top seed in the Seattle Regional, which is the same spot they emerged from in 2012 when they won their last national championship. The ladies are excited to be heading back to the Pacific Northwest.
We are so pumped because we were coming into this secretly hoping it would be Seattle, because that's just a trip that we took my sophomore year that we just had such great memories from, and we just really enjoyed the atmosphere and the culture in Seattle, and you know, the meet was just a plus.
Really excited to be going back to Seattle this year. We had a great time 2 years ago, so we were kind of hoping that's where we'd be going.
Much more coming up on our second. If we talk about the regionals before I get to the tees. The regionals begin on April the 5th. That is a week from Saturday. And the Tide has to finish in the top two to advance to the Nationals, which are also going to be held in Birmingham. Now I can tell you that we got much more coming up on TITV. Next, we'll tell you about a former Bama quarterback who's stepping into the broadcast booth. No surprise. And we'll be joined by a special guest. Former Crimson Tide receiver Kevin Norwood will visit with us via telephone to discuss his NFL future and the future of his former team, what he thinks will happen in 2014. Stick around for that interview next. And coming up, we'll be welcoming your phone calls, emails, and tweets. You see the information on the screen. Interact with Tider Insider TV right now. Go ahead and give us a call, send us an email, or contact us on social media. We'll be right back with the only show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide. The award-winning Tider Insider TV returns after this. It did not take long for Greg McElroy to land on his feet. The former Alabama quarterback retired from the NFL just last week, and within a couple of days, it was announced that he joined the new SEC network as an analyst. He signed a multi-year deal with the company. He had a feeling that he already knew that was in place before he hung up the cleats. And knowing Greg, he'll do a terrific job. And our next guest, Rodney, our first guest, we don't have that many guests, but this guy is special. He caught passes from Greg McElroy and A.J. McCarron, and now he's quickly moving up the draft board. I like to say, Rodney, that clutch is everything, and Kevin Norwood is certainly Mr. Clutch. He joins us now on the phone on the Tider Insider TV hotline. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Kevin, you there? Kevin? Kevin, you got us now? All right. Well, we don't have Kevin right now. I don't know what happened. We had him during the break, but we'll try to get back to him, Rodney, and hopefully get our phone issues worked out so we can have Kevin Norwood join us, hopefully any moment now. But in the meantime, let's talk a little about, I mentioned the fact that he came in here following the 2009 National Championship, highly recruited player out of South Mississippi, could have gone to a lot of different schools. Caught some balls as a freshman, but really, as he matured, he became the guy that A.J. McCarron looked to, particularly when, you know, they needed a catch to be made.
Well, look at that catch. I still think that's one of the best catches I've ever seen, you know, by an Alabama receiver. That was a catch against Texas A&M to cut the lead to 14-7. I mean, anytime you needed a big play, it seemed like Kevin Norwood was always on the other end making it happen. I mean, he's just a steady guy, Gary, and certainly not only that, he's a very talented player. Yeah, you know, he's a guy that after the season didn't rank real high on draft boards. I always questioned that because I watched him play for 4 years. But then during these workouts, and he has really shown his ability to, you have those strong hands. He's a better athlete than people give him credit for. And I think a lot of people undersold his speed, Gary. For some reason, people perceived him as being a possession receiver, maybe a guy that didn't have game breaker type speed. And I think, you know, the combine probably certainly helped him when he turned in a sub 4.5 40. And you know, again, his body control is just outstanding. He's just a fantastic athlete. Well, hopefully we'll be able to get Kevin on the phone. I tell you what we'll do. We'll go ahead and take a break and try to get Kevin back up. We want to talk to him, and also we want to get to some of your phone calls and emails as well. So stay with us on Tider Insider TV.
Alabama softball earned 2 big wins in Gainesville against the top-ranked Florida Gators this past weekend, and for the efforts of the Tide, they move up to number 5 in the rankings. Jackie Traina also honored as the National Player of the Week. She got the 2 victories down there in Gainesville against the Gators. Alabama 8-1 in the SEC, playing at Jacksonville tonight. All right. I think we've got our phone issues worked out. All this technology, Rod, but you know what?
Sometimes it happens.
There's no guarantee. Kevin Norwood, you with us?
Yes, sir.
All right, my man. Good to have you. Hey, we were talking about it before we realized we had lost you. What a great career you had at Alabama. Rodney's going to get into that with you in just a moment. But I want to start out by asking about how exciting is this time in your life, knowing that after playing football probably from the time you were a little boy, you've got a chance to play at the ultimate level now, the National Football League. Talk about how the preparations are going and your expectations for where you might get drafted.
Well, I wish I had some expectations of where I get drafted, but that's really all in the air. It's just, for me, it's a dream come true. I remember my stepdad was a Cowboys fan, so I grew up watching the Cowboys on TV, and I was just like, dang, I want to do that when I grow up. So got a flyer to play Pee Wee football at elementary school, and took that flyer to my mom. She signed it, and I just joined the team, and I just stuck with it.
Kevin, while we're talking about the NFL, wanted to ask you, what's some of the response been maybe that you've got from some people about your performance at the Combine?
Oh, man, I just been getting a lot of good publicity. Everybody's really worried about my 40 time. And so after I ran that 4.39 or 4.48, whichever one I want to call it, I mean, it was just a lot of great things from a lot of guys. And after that, Pro Day came, and interview with the Panthers afterwards. And, I mean, they just telling me they want me, so we're going to see.
Well, I know one thing, Kevin. I know one group that's glad to see you gone. Those are the LSU Tigers. You certainly had a lot of great games and big games against LSU, but you had a lot of great games throughout your entire career, and I know you were an outstanding player coming out of D'Iberville, Mississippi. You got here, you redshirted your first year. You had a really great play against Penn State your redshirt freshman year, but you really kind of got going against LSU in that national championship game, and you ended up having that fantastic career. But kind of talk about some of the highlights that you've had during your career here at Alabama.
Oh, man. To be honest, the starting point for me was that Auburn game that we had in 2010 when Auburn came to visit us. And, I mean, I had the opportunity to, win the game for us, and I didn't come through. So from that moment on, I told myself, to be prepared for anything, be ready, and all that stuff. And then after that, I mean, I started practicing really good, fast, every day, just getting better. And then, I mean, after that, it just came easy. And then my opportunity came again in the LSU National Championship, and I took advantage of it. That's pretty much it. And then after that, I just started taking advantage of every opportunity that I had. Playing at Bama, I mean, being a receiver at Bama, you get rare opportunities, so you just have to take advantage of those opportunities.
You certainly took advantage of your opportunities. As we were saying earlier, kind of like I called you on the Sportscast a bunch of times, Mr. Clutch, and you were that. Hey, what was it like to play for Nick Saban and to not only play for him, but to become a star at Alabama?
It was great. I mean, Coach Saban's not as mean as everybody think he is. He's a funny guy when we're out there on the football field. He'll laugh, he'll joke with you and everything. But at the same time, he's all about business, and that's very respectful. And he's very organized, so he wants everything in a particular way. So just being out there with him and just being in that doghouse after that Penn State flip.
Yep. I remember that, Kevin.
Yeah.
But that was a great play.
Thank you. But I mean, it's really nice. I mean, he teaches some valuable lessons about becoming a man and all that stuff. So I mean, it was a great experience for me, definitely. And on top of that, it got me ready for what I got coming up now. So it was great.
Well, we were just looking at your numbers on the screen, and they are terrific. And we are confident that whoever drafts you is going to be very thankful that they did. Thanks for the time, Kevin, and good luck in the future.
All right, thank y'all.
All right, Kevin Norwood, former Alabama receiver, now awaiting the NFL draft coming up here in just a few weeks from now. All right, Rod, let's stay on the phone, and this time let's take some phone calls. 205-348-WVUA is the number. And who's first up with us tonight? Let's go to talk with Dale from Moundville. Dale, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. First of all, I'd like to say really pulling for Coach Grant to turn things around for next year, and I wish all Alabama fans would. I'd like to know about Ricky Tarrant and Michael Kessens, the two transfers that sit out. What have y'all heard about them? And also, who else are we recruiting besides the three that's already committed to Alabama?
All right, well, we'll start with Tarrant and Kessens. Tarrant was an all-conference player when he was at Tulane, came out of Pleasant Grove High School. Maybe Alabama should have made more of a push for him coming out of high school, but they've got him now, and, you know, I'll have a good chance to start right away with Rutherford leaving. Very good player, good size physically. Michael Kessens from Longwood College, a transfer, 6'9", athletic, averaged over 8 rebounds in his 1 year at Longwood, had a number of double-doubles, so he should help. We're watching some footage right now from some of the high school signees. Justin Coleman from Winona High School. The ball is just an extension of his hand. It's like it's glued to him. He is a quick, lightning fast player with great talent. Devin Mitchell, a shooter from Georgia, and Riley Norris, who we saw earlier in the video. And all three of these guys should help. Riley Norris, 6'6" shooter. They're recruiting a couple of other guys. I don't know if they'll sign anybody else or not, but those 5 players should infuse this program with some energy and excitement, and they'll need it. I mean, Alabama, you mentioned, I think everybody is pulling for Coach Grant to get it turned around, and next year will be a big season, no doubt about that. All right, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with some more phone calls and some updates on the Alabama baseball team as well. So we have got some more program here on TITV. There's the number on how you can get in touch with us on the screen right now. Stay with us. We'll be back after this. It was a Jekyll and Hyde weekend for the Alabama baseball team in Fayetteville. On Friday night, the team plated 17 runs, but the rest of the weekend, they could manage only 1 in 2 games combined. They got beat 2-1 and 1-0 to lose the series. They're back in SEC play this weekend against Ole Miss. And now let's head right back to the telephones, and Charles in Sylacauga has been patiently holding. Hey, Charles, how are you?
I'm fine.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I want to know, do you think A.J. McCarron deserves to be first-round draft pick?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen that he's rated that high. You know, if a team at the latter part of the first round fell in love with him, he possibly could go in the first round. I think second round is probably more likely, possibly second day, meaning the third round. But, again, he's a winning football player. We know that, and that's the great thing about it, whether you're selected in the first round or the third round. As a quarterback, if you're taken by a team, they're going to invest some time in you, and he'll have an opportunity.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned a lot of the things that he has, Gary. You know, he's certainly got a lot of the intangibles. I mean, he threw 77 touchdown passes, only 15 interceptions. He was 36-4. He won 2 national championships, also played on the 3rd national championship team. And, you know, he's got a lot of things in terms of understanding the game, being a game manager, so to speak, but also he has the ability to make plays. And, you know, people talk about what round you go in. It really doesn't matter. I mean, you look at a guy like Joe Montana, for example, was a third-round pick, and look at all the success. Maybe
Tom Brady,
arguably the greatest player, arguably the greatest quarterback, according to some. But, you know, again, I think it's just what you do when you get your opportunity, whatever round you go in. That's right. All right, let's stay here in Tuscaloosa and talk to Joseph. Hey, Joseph, how are you?
Yeah, Rodney, what's up, partners? How y'all feeling?
All right, partner.
That's all good. But people all this up. Now, who look like the pass rush is going to be on defense? For your opinion.
Well, I tell you, you know, again, I think when you look at it, we're going to have to kind of wait, Joseph, and see how things develop. But I really like DJ Petway. You know, again, he was here. He transferred to East Mississippi last year where he helped them win a junior college national championship, had 11.5 sacks. I think he's very focused. He's got a lot of ability. And I think, Gary, he's got an opportunity to make a major impact as a pass rusher and as a player in general for the defensive front. But I think he can really add some spark as a pass rusher. And I'll tell you another guy to watch out for when they bring him off the edge, maybe possibly, be Dylan Lee. I think he's had a fast start to spring practice. You know, he's going to replace Adrian Hubbard at that Sam linebacker spot, but I think he's got a great chance to make a significant impact too, Joseph.
All right, thanks for the phone calls. Coming up, a big-time streak-breaking win for one University of Alabama squad. We'll wrap up this edition of Tider Insider TV, so stay with us. We'll be back after this. Here's a look at the week in athletics at UA. Baseball and softball on the road tonight down in Florida, but both teams back home for weekend SEC series. Alabama's men's and women's tennis teams also in action this coming weekend. And speaking of tennis, what a weekend for the Alabama women's tennis program. For the first time in history, the Tide women defeated the Florida Gators, and with that win, Alabama improved to 15-2 overall, 7-0 in SEC play. They've won 11 matches in a row. Congratulations to Jenny Mines and the Tide women's tennis team on that history-making victory. And now it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Tider Insider Television. As always tonight, Rodney and I outfitted with beautiful dress shirts from the Locker Room, located on the University Strip, home of the original elephant wear. You can shop the Locker Room in person, a Tuscaloosa tradition since 1964, or go online. You can go through all of their fabulous merchandise right there in the privacy of your home, and even make an order. Alex J. Wood and the folks will take great care of you at the Locker Room, a Tuscaloosa tradition. And don't forget, if you missed any of tonight's program, you can catch it again tonight at 10:35, or 10:30, I should say, and also on our website, WVUATV.com. So for Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. This has been Tider Insider TV. Have a good evening, everyone.